so much on this year. So we'll see what happens in this matchup. Again, these ones mean more than anything, right, as we get to the end of it right now.
Indeed the case. Let's take a look at number 24, LSU, though. Petrov, Pavy, Dwarflin, and Ronan. Petrov, one of the returning players. He has been participating with this LSU team since the first season, if I want to say so, back during Modern Warfare 2019. So he stuck through it. Pavy, Dwarflin, and Ronan now joining. This is a roster that largely finds their success in the respawn, which is something that, we can't say about the other side. We'll talk about that in a moment, but it's been Search and Destroy that's really let them down. We talked about a lot of their 3-1 wins. 1 losses, and those 3-1 wins have been in the Search and Destroy.
That's exactly it. Finding a way to tighten up an S&D is kind of always a difficulty, especially if you don't have the opportunity to kind of put in additional time, maybe to scrim just that game mode. But the respawns have been here. These guys definitely have this capability of being able to slay it on the map, which is necessary when you talk about a game like Modern Warfare 2. So they can keep the respawns up. I have to imagine these guys might be able to pull out another one. But as we look at the other side, we take a look at this roster. Not going to be easy to do, man, by any means. You talk about some veteranship. I mean, let's talk about Red Chase. How about for, one of the guys that has been around in CCL now for forever, it feels like. I will forever gas this guy as well. He's the playoff champ when it comes down to icing up in big moments. But alongside him, Zub, Slim, and Pixels here. See if they can go up against this squad and maybe take off some respawn talent.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Slim is back from last year as well and was a big force on this Mocs COD team. But Pixels and Zub's obviously freshmen new to the squad, and you kind of look at them and say, are they letting the team down a little bit here, just 3 and 4? This is what we were talking about. The opposite side of the coin is this team has been great in Search and Destroy, but absolutely atrocious in Respawn. So we've got kind of a back and forth affair here between strengths versus weaknesses on both sides' accounts. Again, this is a team that is coming off of that Search and Destroy success, finding a way to beat that Farmingdale squad. So, that's good news in terms of them being able to kind of pull a major win, but that has not been, I think, the gauge of their entire season, only winning 3 total games.
That's exactly it. Need to pull out some more wins, and here it would be an excellent chance to be able to have this win over LSU, tie yourself up at least going into your day number 2 as well. But yeah, right across the board, I mean, everything's basically even outside of the S&D and hard points. That's what's kind of flipped here. So whenever you see series like this where one team is really good at S&D and the other is really good at hard point, sometimes they come down to who actually wins the map number 3, right? Like who's going to take the control. That very well kind of always can be the decider in a best of 5 like this. So we'll see who's kind of practiced up maybe in each other's strongest game mode coming into this best of 5.
Yeah, I like that. So taking a look to that conversation now, applying it to our best of 5 map set, we'll get Hydro to start things off. Interesting. Plus the Hotel Search and Destroy, followed up by the LSU Control. And the Hydro Hardpoint is, again, you can see Chattanooga's bands, all Fortress, so they obviously don't like that map. But the thing is, you're going into an LSU squad that has a good hardpoint, and you sit there and say, well, okay, now how all of a sudden are you going to be able to beat them on a Hydro Hardpoint, one of the most punishing hardpoint maps we have in the rotation?
Yeah, one of the most punishing maps, but also kind of one of the more flippy maps, I would say, too, in the chance that, if you're just not tracking all 4 players or just one player starts to slip the net, finds himself into some good rotational positions to flip up the spawns, you can absolutely steal away a Hydro. I mean, there's not much more I like than seeing a Hydro map 1, maybe other than seeing you, Alan. Maybe that's up there. It's just one of those maps, that anything can happen on it. So as much as we maybe do praise, one team for being really good at hardpoint, I think this is at least one that you could potentially take off of them.
Yeah, you're definitely right. It's just going off of the records. Again, we don't have a ton of information as far as what maps, those wins or losses have been on, but just the assumption being that Chattanooga is going to struggle on the respawn, it definitely feels a bit strange to see Hydro be allowed through. But I guess it's kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of another, because Hydro is a very rotation-based game, whereas Fortress is very much so a spawn manipulation game. So it's kind of, you have to be good at one or the other as we get ready for it. And then you also saw the Hotel would be map number 4 as well for us. So opportunities for us to kind of get a little bit of a look there. We haven't had a chance to have much conversation. A lot of people are now talking about new maps being thrown in. What is your take on the current map set versus possibly seeing more added? I mean, it's not really a great time to do it because, season 4 or stage 4 is about to start for the CDL. So kind of feels like we missed our window to incorporate a new map, but where's your headspace at on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us were certainly expecting something to come through, hopefully sooner, for game modes like kind of Fortress, where it just always comes down to like round 5s in Control and stuff like this. So I was hoping that we were going to get one in like a lot earlier, and we saw some scrims. I think we were seeing one of the newer maps kind of thrown out there. Personally, I'm a fan. I think we need to get it in, maybe for some of our more predictable maps, I will say right now in our current rotation, where you can really foreshadow, what's going to happen. But I think I was on the same page with most of the community, where I was hoping we'd get something before stage 4. But this leaves you in a weird spot. If we do get a change now, it's like, well, now you have to be kind of ready to be on your toes, and you don't also learn that one if it gets thrown into the rotation late.
Yeah, because let's be honest, it very well may.
It might.
It's just that would be par for the course at this point in time, is that something sudden will come through. But
sure.
the way it always goes with things like this is there's always conversation surrounding like, oh, we should start playing this. And you start to hear it trickle down from the pros into challengers, and then eventually into college COD and the rest of the kind of third tier organizers that are running things. So who knows? Hard to say. Outside of that, as we're waiting for a game to start, how's your bracket looking? Because that we're going to have, a full college COD bracket, but it always starts with March Madness. Are you still alive? Are you still doing well?
No,
okay?
My brackets are always chalked, Alan. You know me, man. Like, I think what we did, I think we all did our own brackets for, Modern Warfare 2019, I want to say. I'm pretty sure I was completely shocked. We did that one, mainly on stream, and it was not good. So, I don't like to talk about my brackets, all right? Are your brackets doing okay? Are they doing good? Are they hanging on?
My bracket's okay. I actually didn't get a chance to check because I was so heartbroken about Indiana's loss last night that I just kind of stopped paying attention to basketball for the rest of the evening. But I want to say that my bracket's still doing well.
Okay.
I had a couple of predictions. I had the Furman win. That was pretty big, I think, for most people. They didn't have that, but you can't deny fast-paced basketball. So, wow, I am not doing well. I'm not okay. I just looked over the whole group. Just not okay. We'll move on to the next conversation point, which is gameplay. Let's get into it. Hydra Hardpoint. March Madness, we saw this last year at one point in time. I brought my own little whiteboard. There were a bunch of upsets that happened. It's like, you know what happens in March, baby. It's always madness time, so who knows for these two squads. Currently sitting in the top 8 of their group, but again, they've got a lot of games they still have to make up and play before they get to the total 11. So a lot that could still happen, and this one, for all intents and purposes, is a flex match where you can either gain a little bit more separation if you're caught LSU, or get yourself right back into the running of UTC. So we've got the Tigers, we've got the Mocs, Hydro Hardpoint. Let's get it.
Let's get it on. I'm ready for it. Going to be a great one. Again, looking for something to come alive here potentially for the Mocs when it comes down to the respawns. We already touched on it briefly. Want to see them winning rotations, holding some of these hills. So far, able to come out with a couple of kills. Good win here for Petrov as well, and that's going to allow them to get into the time early.
Really clean stuff, cleaning out the dome. Although, once more, do you get a read here that you've already flipped spawns? Because that was not a convincing push-through, so a lot of second-guessing comes out, and as it does, Pixel jumps in, finds the double, and starts to turn this hard point back around. At least neutral for now, just 14 seconds given up. Slim, from right over the top of the bridge. One big kill, second on the way, and that's actually good because on the same moment, his teammates won gunfights on the back, flipping the spawns back around, which gets UTC in position for P2.
In a good spot to maybe even hold on, but Petrov, he's been picking heads, man. He's won a lot of clutch gunfights and just some of these movements across the map so far. See if he can try to come up with some more once his teammates get here. Top dome will be his, but Pixels, man, he picks up perfect moments of flank, almost finds all 3, and that's going to disrupt this first push as Red Chase is doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Red Chase on the fast nav. I kind of figured that he was going to be running an AR this year with, of course, his stable, long history, but flexing over, trying to give his freshmen maybe a little bit of an opportunity to do what they do best. Zubs in the back. Oh, decent shots, but just a little bit late to the gunfight. Petrov takes the win, and with that, a chance here for LSU to still fight for this scrap time. Ronan, the first one in, deals with Pixels very cleanly. Trophy system down to enforce, not that it was needed, and that will be enough for COD LSU to put themselves in the lead.
Yeah, they could never really get to the back and actually hold on and stop the push through here for LSU. So spawns come in, push comes through, and the kills are clean enough to be able to get in there for some time. And now some cross-map movements happening again. Orflin looking for a potential spree, but he will be cut down for Pixels, who's ready to challenge up for the second. I'm telling you, he's feeling himself right now with some of these challenges. 6 and 4 for him. Now a chance for UTC to at least set up. They're here first. Let's see them lock in some time.
Yeah, and if you're the Mocs, I think you just keep allowing Pixels to do this because the routes as he's hit for these little pinches and flanks have been very well timed, and he's not moving too far forward to where he's disturbing the spawn. So, yeah, this is another good look at it. These shots not nearly as clean, but he's able to at least assist Slim get a Semtex grenade off for a kill. Red Chase up top has a lot to deal with and just does not quite expect that Petrov had already made the mantle. So LSU will stabilize here on the second. UTC looking for a break, and they will have Red Chase spawning behind. LSU have no idea that this is coming, and that is enough for the side of UTC to get the break.
That's really the big thing we talk about Hydro. It's just kind of getting a read on where they're coming from, and it's not always easy to do. Fighting now for back 20. Orflin again being the kind of spearhead of a lot of these plays and a lot of these breaks, and he's able to get himself in. So the time going to go the way of LSU. They are going to have a slight lead. Again, a chance for UTC to set up. They've been good on the rotations. Now we need to see them lock in some time.
First blood is good. Makes safe that long water route. Pixels, good information through the middle of the map. Will likely transmit that to Slim, and the longer he doesn't see this challenge, the more you have to figure that there's going to be a water route hit. Pavi trying to stay underneath the rocks, and oh goodness, he is sipping on some algae down there. Gets around the backside, Pavi for the first blood. Now an opportunity to turn that into 2, but no, turned away, and Red Chase does stabilize long enough for the Mocs to still spawn in.
That's beautiful. 20 seconds locked in. This is what I wanted to see. A good hold. Now some structure also to come with it. Trying to zone maybe for the front. Ronin struggling to lock down Zubs, but now the trade's starting to come in, and LSU look like they might be good to break in. Spawn still in the back, though, for UTC. They can still very much play for this time. As Slim cleans up 2, that could potentially lock it in, but LSU still knocking on the door, trying to fight for the back 15.
Yeah, good anchor in there from Slim. Just never giving away that rock position. Let your subs fly through mid. Subs, oh, careful. I don't think he'd noticed Dwarflin was popping up right there, but doesn't make a difference. The scrap time is now secured. On rotation, though, LSU do have 3 members at new, and the kills are as clean as you could possibly like. Petrov, even on the long flank, even cleaning up a little bit of that scrap exit. So now for UTC, it's all about trying to find a way to break this one through. And honestly, this spawn situation may allow for an early contest, but Zub's last one left, feeling maybe a little nervy about his teammates dropping so quickly, will back up, head up towards the second floor, and wait for help.
Top, kills coming through. Zub's still trying to control whatever he possibly can when he gets snapped on. Petrov, nice little turn. We'll be able to put him down and allow LSU to still keep presence inside of the point, but got to play a little defense. Everyone just outside the point now for UTC, trying to find the kills. Red Chase able to get 1, but they're not clean enough, and Zubs also goes down to the back. LSU doing a great job here so far.
Long-range shots, Pavi on 5. Well done, because that was a dicey gunfight to take in the scrap 10 seconds. And locks over towards Red Chase, and another for Pavi. 7 straight for Pavi, and an opportunity for maybe even 8 here, as he's still playing for this very limited amounts of scrap time. Goodness, Pavi is dancing right now all over the Mocs. And as we go back over towards the entryway, it's a 115 to 81 lead, and Pavi's looking for double digits.
Oh, we got to get a double chow on those double digits. Let me tell you, man, it's been just free picking for him. One by one they come. Little water fight. There we go. Ronan able to pull up the pistol and finish him off. But it's those moments I think you have to be worried about if you're UTC. One player taking over like that, going on a 9 spree, and now you can start to see the snowball kind of taking over right now for them as they've just been locking down P1. They are set up for P2. And UTC, I mean, they're going to have to bounce back and bounce back hard.
Yeah, and it's tough because that first rotation, you know, UTC were doing a pretty solid job of fighting when they were in a pretty bad spot or holding when they're in a good spot. Just comes down to LSU running a little bit rampant around the map in these rotational moments, giving them an extra 10 seconds here, extra 10 seconds there, and now they find themselves up 60 points. UTC will get the back 5 seconds and a chance for Pixels to once again just kind of be a little suckerfish down here, make his way all the way around the back. Does see the gun of 1. That's Pavlov, who will drop. So now, how about this? Pixels off the pitch. One more to find down on the ladder. Okay. A little bit of SMG magic on both sides as UTC secured the break on the initial opening.
Street coming on in, trying to break this open. I mean, nobody's really in position, though, yet here, even if the kill did come through. And the trophy going to keep Slim nice and safe inside the hard point. Back 30. Could be all UTC's. One final push, really, for LSU to try to get something done. Whoa,
man.
Okay. Maybe with a nice little transfer, and now numbers maybe at the front of the point to try to break in for 20 seconds, but the security is there. Dome control held by Zubs. We'll be able to lock in a solid hill here for UTC.
Yeah, really good survivability there from UTC. It wasn't just one trophy in this site. You also had one player up top with the AR locking things down with a trophy at his feet on Dome. That was Zubs. So, yeah, really good control here from UTC, and oh my goodness, Pixels on 1 HP. Not sure how he wins that gunfight, but he's happy to have it. Secures a chance now for exits for the Mocs to make their way over towards the top side of control room, which is exactly what Zubs wants to do. But yeah, Ronan wasn't born yesterday. They expected that mantle, finds the easy kill, and LSU get the opening 15.
Ronan is working them right now on this push. He's just tagging up everybody, getting some good damage in, playing his life as well. And now LSU control, but have to hold. Push coming through, 2 kills so far, make it 3. Ronan's on a 5 spree, and that UTC push will come to a halt immediately. The only one up is Zubs, and he's also traded out. LSU could look to run away here with a back 25.
Is it just me or these LSU players feel like they've got really high sense?
Yeah.
I feel like we're watching these guys whip, dude. They're whipping it. So across mid, Pixels trying to stave off the exit. Maybe gain a little bit of breathing room here for UTC as we move over towards the ruined pathway. But the spawns continue to be in the back here. So it's just a conga line of both teams just running across the map. Petrov, I'm sure, will have an opportunity to still spawn in. I'm not really sure, actually. No, he's going to spawn just before the new hardpoint opens up, so he'll spawn out by old, which means that Pavy's going to be by his lonesome here for a while. And, well, he's done well to get into the back, anchor things up, but surviving is a different question because here comes UT Chattanooga around the back. Expectation from Pavy was nearly there, but the Mocs clean him up nicely and now have a chance to start earning some very much so needed time.
This is one of their better hills last time in the last set, so Red Chase has got some great positioning right through mid. He can cut off this rotation as long as players aren't slipping through under the water or getting all the way around the back. I feel like you should be good for just about a full hold here. One final push before LSU have to start jocking it up and looking for the rotation. The kills are coming on through. Almost another one as Pixels has to work a little bit extra to try to finish that one off. But UTC, again, this P4 hill, it has been all theirs, and that's another full 60 to get them right back in the game.
It almost feels like UTC have won just about all the hard points on the right side of the map, while LSU have won all the hard points on the left side of the map. So something will have to change there if Chattanooga want to reduce this 9-point deficit and get into the advantage. Play all the way around the back. This is going to take so much time for Pixels, but it will be one that could reward pending they get this first kill onto Pavy. He's already caught out by the rock, trying to keep his life. He's turned away. Ronan up top, next one up. Doesn't really get a good look at most of the Mocs that are now threatening quickly from the back and the side. Stuns are in. Ronan up top, still healthy, dives down in, finds a second kill. Third one's around the corner, but it will be traded out, and Pixels will get UTC the break, but it's not a guaranteed hold yet as LSU are already back on the rebreak attempt.
Oh, they're fighting. They get right through the pond area, right through water, throw themselves right back in the point. 20 seconds, that huge 20 seconds. UTC have to win. Ronan trying to make his way into the point. Can't really land the shots, and Red Chase gets an angle. Maybe a chance for a trade. No way does Ronan do it again. Has to swap to a different weapon. And it looks like LSU will keep the numbers and will get the majority of the time. They could end it on P1. Now you have to start to play perfect here for UTC.
And UTC's got a lot of things they have to worry about because on the opposite front, yes, UTC could technically also win here, but it would be a hard stretch to figure that would happen. So you have to make sure no one gets around the back because you're playing for an eventual second hard point. And as a spawn comes through for Zubs, they get the guarantee that at the moment, yes, we are holding on to the left side of the minimap. Now it's just down to dealing with the threat in the middle of the map, but Slim can only find one. Dwarflin goes prone. No trade on him yet. Finally, Pixels is able to clear out mid, but without any high ground advantage, Pixels just kind of has to run in and do it himself, and there's not a lot of oversight, not a lot of help, and with that, now LSU to 240. Red Chase, not exactly a memorable game for him, just 19 and 26, and as he tries to get into the hard point, he's pushed around until finally Slim gets the double to help clear.
Oh, but look at this route. This route here, Dwarflint trying to come around the back. Only able to come up with one, but you could still end it here if you can get into the time. And it looks like it's not going to happen. We're going to go one more point. UTC are into control of the rotation. There's nobody really from LSU outside of Ronan that can try to play for the spawns, and Red Chase might be onto it.
Oh, he's caught him just barely. Oh, the dead silence play. Catches Ronan now a little off guard. Red Chase from the corner. Nades coming through. No trophy system in front of the hard point, so Red Chase has to watch this cross. Sees one on the mix, but he's not going to realize that Dwarflin's already on the back, and, well, Dwarflin's actually blocked spawns. Now with the kill, LSU will flip. UTC, with just the last two members alive, have to hold from inside the hard point, and Zubs can only do so much. Just up to if Slim can find a way to single-handedly break. He's got to find a way to get in, find a way to go, but no, not going to happen. LSU's break will allow them the map 1 win, although it was, I think, maybe tighter than their records on hardpoint would have suggested at the beginning of all this.
Wow, yeah, 250 to 237, a lot closer than I think maybe we were anticipating. But, I mean, Hydro could just be one of those maps, man. Lock down a rotation, you get a full 60, you can get yourself right back into the game. I mean, outside of P4, if there was just another hill, you got to think maybe that one plays it a little bit different there for UTC. That was really the hill they were getting about half of their points on, about 120 points. But not enough in the end. Good clutch play around the back. That was everything. You don't flip out those spawns, all of a sudden, you can just keep throwing your numbers into the point there with a close spawn and just flood over and over and over again. But 13 seconds, just the differential, certainly putting up a fight.
Absolutely. And, you know, I thought, again, like we mentioned halfway through that map, not bad stuff from UTC overall. So, you know, I think it's one of those situations you look over and say, okay, if you play like that in Hotel, if we get there, great. I think you've got an opportunity to kind of keep working that same idea, that same rotational timing, and come out with maybe a little bit more favor on some of these break attempts, because you know how the spawns can go with Hydro. They're really punishing if you do not control every single instance of them. So, you know, I thought it was a really good start overall for the series for UTC. It's going to hurt, obviously, not to be able to have a chance to really see an advantage in the map, but you were sticking with a good respawn team from start to finish here.
Absolutely were. Very solid across the board, and a lot of great plays coming on through for the sub players, too. I feel like, you know, Pixels had a lot of good routes that he was taking, but I feel like it was just, you know, some of those small moments, right? Like, once that spree comes through there for Pavi, he goes on 9, you know, he earns himself the missile. He just kind of has one of those moments where momentum starts to take over. Yeah. And they're at least able to chain a couple hills together, but it's this moment in the back, you're thinking maybe Pixels could continue to just interrupt the spawns. He was great for finding the routes, just not enough for keeping enough presence at least around the point.
Yeah, and that was the exact response that you needed to see from UTC, because, you know, otherwise this map was going to be wide open and pretty much over. So, again, that's why I look at this Mocs team and say, okay, you did well. You put together a response when a response was needed. Just came down to the fact that, again, the map played. We have our half, you have your half, and LSU just did a little bit better when it came to breaking down some of those setups over towards the pathway, and even more so, I think, right there at the end on the second hard point. So, 29-19 from Pavi, 3,200 damage. Heck of a map from him with a minute 35 in the hard point. On the other side, you know, Slim had some great lockdown moments, Pixel some great flank. I think, largely speaking, you can kind of see the dispersion across the hill time from one team to the other, and that's your big indicator of difference, I think, in this map.
Everyone getting involved, love to see it. Ronan also had a lot of crazy moments where it looked like it was not easy to work through them with the AR. Like, you want to have maybe a sub in some of those moments, but he was still just putting in work, finding a lot of kills up top there that we were seeing kind of around P3. So it's a lot of great plays from him and just a lot of great positioning, just making some heads-up plays. But overall, map 1 goes how we kind of expected. It's a lot closer, like we said, but now the map 2. And that's where we start talking about the S&D. And I feel like based off of at least what we've seen so far from like players like Pixels hitting some of these routes, I think the S&D is going to be really interesting to see if they can continue to live up to their 5-2 record here for the Mocs.
Yeah, it's one of those situations that, again, you have to trust your record. Again, we don't really have a lot of information on what maps they prefer versus which ones they do not, outside of the vetoes, which was all Mercado on one side, all Fortress on the other. So, yeah, you know, that gives us some inference into what styles they like to play in. But Hotel Search Destroy is one of those that also kind of, you know, at this level, I should say, ends up being a lot of blind pushes in towards A. You know, we don't really often see a lot of finesse, those little mid-round hits that we see from like top challengers and CDL squads. It's a lot of you flood, you know, A, we'll flood B, those types of things. So I think I'll be really curious to see what kind of flexibility and variety the Mocs bring in here, because this COD LSU team on the other side of things has not particularly been great in Search and Destroy. So, you know, this would be an opportunity, I think, to kind of flex your muscles and just kind of turn the tempo of this map in this series, rather, into your favor, just by kind of running at this Tiger squad that has largely been unsuccessful in map 2 and 5.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I mean, you got to be telling yourself, you know, if we can steal this map away, like, we got this series locked up with how our respawns are. And you have to kind of, you know, always wonder when a team is, you know, not so good at S&D and you're going up against a team that is pretty strong in it. Like what do you decide to do, right? Like, do you try to go for maybe some more of these hard counter plays and stack numbers like on one side of the map to try to force engagements? Don't let them get set up. Do not let them work picks or info. Like, you have to maybe like approach it a little bit differently, I feel like, or at least be willing to do something different from round to round and just not do like the same default setup where you're just getting like picked apart. It's like, oh, well, now we have to rotate and retake and we don't have numbers. So we'll see what they kind of opt in to do here, but I'd love to see maybe just a little bit of creativity or at least stacking numbers maybe on one side of the map here, knowing that they're not very good, at least when it comes down to this game mode.
Absolutely. It's very curious, but hey, it's about to be playoff time, and all these things that we're asking questions to are going to have answers if we're going to make it through a very large and very long playoff run. For these teams, you know, again, if they finish top 8, they're going to be in a really good spot to kind of secure a shorter bracket, but there is something to be said about, you know, playoff brackets that have multiple teams in it, especially with hot D2 squads that are not going to have the chance at free buys to really flex their muscles in one day of action and to come out hot. You know, we've seen that more often than not. There's a lot of gripes about it in the challengers and CDL community, like, hey, we need to have matches on Sunday so we don't come into our match cold, things like that. So, you know, I think that there's going to be a very realistic point here where you look at all these problems and say, if you don't have it figured out at a certain point, you're kind of just hoping that the boat doesn't sink. You know, let's see how long we can get that journey going, because you can't float for long with holes in the boat, that's for sure.
No, it doesn't sound good. Holes in the boat, Alan. I would not want to be out in sea with that, you know?
Holes in
Would
my
be good.
cheese. I do love a good slice of Swiss.
Swiss cheese.
So,
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a little Swiss cheese.
Love it.
You know what? I don't think we ever talked about cheese before. Is Swiss like your go-to? Is that the best or?
I'm a provolone fan. I think it's the most universal cheese. I think it works on just about
Okay.
everything. So, you know, Swiss is just it's good for like a Reuben or a roast beef sandwich, but like
Okay.
provolone works on everything. So I go towards I gravitate towards the more universal of the cheeses, I say.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I like that right there out of you.
You're a blended guy, aren't you? You're a
I'm
shredded
a
blended
shredded.
guy.
How did you know?
I just know. I just know.
How did you know that?
I just know.
Dude.
I had a feeling. Like can I call this? I'm willing to wager that when you go to a Subway, do you eat Subway by the way in Canada? Do you go to Subway?
Oh,
okay.
no, I do.
Your order is a chicken bacon ranch with the shredded cheese on top. It has to be.
It's close. It's I get a Black Forest ham. Black Forest ham.
Oh,
with shredded cheese and toasted.
okay.
But you were pretty close, man. It's kind of scary.
I felt really good about that prediction.
Did we go to Subway when you were in Toronto?
We did not go to a Subway. No.
I'm not gonna
We can make it happen this time though.
All right. I'm convinced. I like that.
Also, fun fact: the chicken bacon ranch is my personal favorite. So.
I'll write that down.
Yeah. And you add pepperoni, dude. Power play. It's a power play, I'm telling you. Let's get into the search. A little 2-2 split here for UTC on the first offense. Red Chase leaning over and hello? Don't often see SMG players just run out of luggage halls like that, but Pavi maybe thought he had a timing and he gets punished.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. At least show a shoulder, right? Like, or have someone kind of maybe above you at the same time to at least maybe work a trade. So, kind of given a free kill, but a chance to still respond. That's one over the top. Red Chase will get the trade. And he wants to drop this bomb immediately, but it drops in the back. And he's going to go for the spray, gives away his position, but doesn't finish off the kill.
He's going to waste the Semtex just to open the doors as well. And the long play from Pixels. Now a big problem here for LSU. Although Pixels mounts right into the waiting arms of Petrov. So now we go to a 2v2. Ronan trying to look for the break and always sees the shoulder of Red Chase. That's enough for the easy first kill. And then Petrov finishes things off. Watch out for the team nade. I thought that bounced right back into their face. That would have been bad.
Looked like it, but man, I mean, talk about breaking down a setup. It is not an easy setup to break, and both players had ARs, yeah? Ronan had an AR too, so, I mean, you have to basically just, like, predict over the top when the player is going to be, like, snaking you, or you have to work an angle like Ronan did down low and just kind of figure out where Red Chase is playing. He just kind of finds him prone, not hiding behind any cover, so picks him up. Petrov from the back, my goodness. Talk about retaking a site inside of Kitchen with ARs. That's how you do it. That's a hell of a first round here for LSU.
Absolutely. And just a good shutdown of Pixels on that long flank before it became too dangerous, because for a moment there looked like Ronan was dead to rights. Here we go. Nade stunts all towards the front doors on the valet. Spam towards Slim, who's got a scope out but isn't really able to contest too much. It's a quick plant from LSU. And I like the tempo swap here. Don't let UTC get away with too much. Long flank around the back, though, has caused some problems, and now LSU have to try to survive a 2v4.
Slim definitely saw one player cross. He's trying to get a read on whereabouts he's playing from. And, well, they'll finish off Petrov. Just need one more. Warflin would have to do something insane. Have a chance maybe to get a repeat on a Red Chase, but luckily Slim comes from behind. He still had to get the player off the bomb, but certainly a good attempt, a good look, low on time, almost made it happen. However, UTC, they bounce back and they respond.
Yeah, it's just an interesting way that LSU actually get the bomb off without being even really seen by Slim and the sniper rifle, but still don't walk away with an opportunity to really set up their post plant. Largely, again, the focus on the backside was a 1v1, so, you know, those things come and go as you please, but LSU not really able to isolate Slim up top. Not really able to get any kills either, actually, so 1-1 we go. And now for UTC, has that early first round split caused any question marks here for LSU, who are already shaky in their search and destroy, but giving up a B plant may make this defense reconsider how it wants to set up, and you're going to get now a huge stack to the middle of the map. As Pavi will watch the cross, Ronan up top, difficult fight, but wow, still wins it. Trade comes through. It's Slim with a sniper rifle through the window, I want to say, the covered window, and that's going to be enough for Red Chase to now make his move towards the catwalk, and everything's falling apart very quickly.
Yeah, Red Chase seals the deal, likely. Slim even gets away from the nade to make sure he's not traded out there. But yeah, that was absolutely wild. I mean, Red Chase seals it, but that opening and that pick through the wall, it must have been a wall bang for the back of like E2 or something, right? And just connects with them unbelievable shots end up coming through initially, but that trade really was everything to get Red Chase kind of in that position uncontested, and he just gets a great read there inside of Couches.
Yep. Solid call. So now LSU, what do you do now after your aggressive A plan? Do we try to do that twice in a row? Especially knowing that Slim is sniping. That's the real question, because that will be a threat. And by the look of it, Slim is going to go right back up top, have the exact same setup he had before. Not going to catch anybody initially, but he's learned his lesson. But the hit marker does actually allow the bomb to get planted, even though Slim gets first blood. Shot over the top, though, lands for a second and third. How about that from Slim? Gets 3 of the 4. One more to grab. It'd be Petrov from mid-front desk, but there's really only so much he can do. Red Chase gets the kill, and UTC get the round.
Oh my goodness, dude. Slim just picks him apart. He's jumping over the top of the desk just to peek if he's still there, and then he's connecting on those shots as well. Are you kidding me, man? What a round coming on through there for Slim. Don't get to see it in the final kill, but my goodness, this man's getting hot with the scope, and I'd be terrified if I'm on the other side.
Yep, that's for sure. That will definitely make you reconsider your next hit. I'll say that much. And again, this could be a huge factor defensively as well. Yeah, as we watch it back one more time. I mean, this is just scoot later. And then, you wanted to see, you get the same treatment to you later, dude.
It's got to feel great for Slim. 5-1, and he is just carrying the bomb as well. Wants to swap it up, of course.